guitar playing is the conduit for the idea. It's how I think, just over time and playing and just like playing so much. It's like that's when I have an idea for something, I'll pick up a guitar. My parents made me take piano lessons when I was really little, and I'm forever grateful for that. I just want to say, Mom and Dad, thanks a lot for forcing me to take piano lessons. But what really got me into guitar was probably like the birth of MTV era music videos. Like being a little kid and seeing like the Rock You Like a Hurricane video, Rock of Ages and Foolin'. Like, man, that looks rad. I want to play guitar instead of piano. So I started taking guitar lessons. You start out playing guitar, and then it's like, how do I make sound? And then it's like, how do I make the sound that I'm supposed to? Then it's like, how do I make the sound I want to hear? And when I was crossing over into that phase of how to make the sound I want to hear, I was starting to get into like punk rock. You just get older and are interested in different things. I went from like the more technical virtuoso players to the more like no rules punk rock kind of vibe people. I didn't feel like I would ever be that kind of technical shredder of a person as much as I wanted to practice. That was kind of like bumping up against the how do I make an identity for myself? I have like every Guitar Player magazine, every Guitar for Practicing Musician issue from like 88 to 92. Somewhere in my parents' house I have like a box of like all guitar. And so like any gear or any advertisement back then, like, I would get around to checking it out. It's the honest truth. I went through every string and Ernie Ball felt like the best. That's it. I've tried them all and it was the best. So that's what I play. I was probably playing like tens to start out with. I've always thought that heavier strings just feel better, not for only the sake that they'll stay in tune better if you're, pushing harder, but just like sonically, I feel like it feels better. I borrowed a buddy's Telecaster and it had 12s on it. And I was like, oh man, this is amazing. And as I got more comfortable with playing, I moved up to the power slinkies to 11. And now I play the medium gauge. Like if this is medium, I'd hate to see heavy. It's 13 with a wound 26 G string, 13 to 56. We've been a band for maybe 23, 24 years now. I think what's kept us going is just the sense of trying to keep things fun. You're playing music, it should be fun. And trying to find new ways to challenge ourselves. New ways you can kind of put yourself in a slightly uncomfortable position to achieve growth. That could look like trying to attempt something really complex, or it could look like trying to give yourself a lot of restraint. It's just trying to keep things different. The reward you get from hearing your idea, exist is like what keeps it going. For me, anyway. I do have a really structured way of looking at songwriting and about guitar playing, especially when guitar playing is featured in anything. It's really back to a very basic elementary school level of like, theme, variation, theme. If you look like the solo from the middle, it states something, it states it again with a slight variation, then it changes, but it repeats that variation. It's really methodical how I want to hear something, I don't come from a background where jamming happens, Even when I was a kid, like we would get together and we would play like other people's music. I don't sit around and jam. Everything is very thought out. If I pick up a guitar and someone says, play something, I'm like, okay, I gotta think about this for a minute. Like I've been playing guitar since I was like 8 years old, and I still, like, I just don't think that way. I gotta kind of see it out in my head of like, okay, I'm doing this, and then it'd be interesting to do this, and then it'd be interesting to do this, and then it'd be, it should probably finish this way. So I guess I just I overthink everything. That's my style, is I overthink everything. I think I had the moment where I said to myself, I guess I could do this. I could just, maybe 2007, maybe our fourth album as a band. Like, oh, I guess I'm doing this. As a kid, it was just fun. The goals that we set for ourselves were really, short-term and relatively achievable. And we'd hit them, and then we'd have more short-term, relatively achievable goals. And it's just it kept going that way. And even when things started really taking off, like with the commercial success of The Middle and Bleed American, it was still like just this thought that we're kind of getting away with something. And you really can't take any of it that seriously. I mean, we're proud of our work, but you can't take it seriously. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. And then when the dust settled from that and we were still working, it was like, oh, I guess I'm doing this. Cool. Even today, it still feels like a little bit like I got to remind myself that, yeah, that's what I'm doing. It still feels like I'm just getting away with something. It's going to disappear any second. Songwriting is basically, like, for me, it's finding what the idea is. You're exploring the idea. You're not questioning it, you're just going with it. So I guess when we're writing music with the band, it's like the worst thing you can do is self-censor. You have to just chase the idea to be the most realized version of what that idea wants to be. Then you make a decision if it's good or not. And you collect all of those, and then, after a while you have an album's worth of stuff. Have to be honest about what you like, and that means waving a flag pretty high with your opinion, because I think that's the only way something's really going to translate. Like, you could make identical copies of something that's already, that works. It might work for a minute, but I think what's really going to connect with people on a level that has legs is honesty. When you're on the cusp of pushing the the perception of yourself, I think you're on the right track. Like if you're going forward with an idea and you develop it to a point where you can kind of get a sense of what it is, and you're like, oh man, I don't know. If there's a little bit of that, then you're on the right track. You know, or if you find yourself laughing so much, like, oh man, we're gonna do this, you're on the right track. You know, if you get to the end of the road in pursuing an idea and you're like, yep, that's me, it's not worth doing. You know, like, it's like, okay, that's you. Great. Good story. You know, like, where's the story to that? Where's, like, I don't know. If you're not pushing yourself, if you're not uncomfortable a little bit, then you're not growing.